Ask anyone who's spent any length of time with me, and they'll say that there's one question that's bound to come up in conversation. And that's whether I think they believe a hot dog is a sandwich. Now, I just think this is kind of a fun icebreaker. I didn't come up with it. This has been around the internet for years, and there's competing theories and things like that. I just think it's fun. I think it's a good way of getting to know somebody and kind of breaking the ice and just seeing what they think and how they think and things like that. And I've had this conversation hundreds of times, so I've been able to develop my theory. It's been challenged. I've heard other people's theories. I've heard everything. And I've come to the conclusion that a hot dog is a salad. Well, let me explain. What's a salad? A salad is a mixture of ingredients. I don't know who's going to argue with that, which means that a hot dog is a salad under that definition. It's a specific type of salad. I call it an ordered salad, which makes ketchup and mustard a dressing on that salad. But who cares? Honestly, who cares? It's not that important. It's just a hot dog. It's just a sandwich. It's just a salad. Why are we talking about this? Well, when it comes to working with people, a disagreement on what a sandwich is probably won't come up too often, but we use all sorts of other language and we have a misalignment, but we don't actually talk about what that is and what our definitions of word is. We just take it for granted. And so let's use a real example of a problem that happens when people are using the same word but have different definitions for it. So you're 1628, and there was this brand new Swedish battleship called the Vasa. I think that's how you pronounce it. And on its maiden voyage, it sailed 1,400 yards and promptly sank. And one of the reasons why it sank was because they discovered there were two different sets of rulers. Each was measuring a foot, but one was a Swedish foot and one was an Amsterdam foot, and they are off by 1 inch. I think it was like one's 12 inches, one's 11 inches. And the builders were using different sets of rulers. Same word, same concept, foot, but a different definition. And in this case, it caused the port side of the ship to be much heavier, which resulted in the ship at the bottom of the sea. And so Marvin Minsky has this concept called suitcase words. He defines it as words that become so packed with so many different meanings that they get in the way of understanding. And this happens all over the place, and especially in business and productivity space. Think about it. You've heard the word goal, purpose, focus, discipline, ambition, yada, yada, yada. It goes on and on. All these are suitcase words. We all have our own idea of what these are. And what creates a problem? Well, let's start with the word culture. Culture, I define as individuals that have a shared mental model. And how we create those mental models, well, how we actually manifest those is through language. We use language as an abstraction over what's going on up in our brain and what we think about what a sandwich is, or what purpose is, or what a mission is, or vision, or goal, or whatever. And this causes problems when we're trying to work together. Because if we each have different understandings of something, then when we actually go on and work, all sorts of weird things happen, all sorts of weird behaviors. And this is a problem even if it's just you. Because think about it, you can watch 40 videos on the internet about, let's just say, purpose. Watch 40 different videos. You probably get a ton of good information. But at the end of the day, all the different definitions are going to be slightly different because a different person has a different idea of what purpose is. And then when you try to apply that and you try to fit that with all the other words that you've heard and all the other different definitions, your internal mental model is going to be inconsistent too. You won't have a shared mental model, much less working with other people on a team, in a project, in a business. So that's where I come in with commitment theory. Commitment theory is this shared language, this language that gives you the shared mental model. It's not about having the right definitions. No, it's about having consistent definitions that are congruent with each other, that they fit together, so that if we use these words under this context, they mean this specific thing, and they all work together, and it has consistency. Commitment theory is the syntax of ambition. And why am I talking about that now? Well, my past videos were littered, completely littered with suitcase words. This one is too, and all of them will be, because that's the problem. We use all these words, but we don't have consistent definitions. So consider ambition, focus, purpose, willpower, capacity, commitment. You're familiar with them, but the contents of your suitcase are completely different than mine or than other people. And that's what I'm hoping to do, is define a consistent set of language to help build better systems and ultimately better culture for not only just you, but everybody that you work with and everybody that can share this model with. And hopefully that avoids wrecks like the Vasa. Ready to unpack more suitcase words? Subscribe now. Every week I'll be posting a new video where I expand on commitment theory and explain new concepts and how they work together and how to apply them to your life. If you're an entrepreneur that's overwhelmed, book a call. Check the description. I want to help you. So until next time, I appreciate you. Goodbye.